am so sick of this idea that we should always accept that in every situation a woman is a victim. I'm not empowered by that. I don't find that to be empowering, right? The Me Too movement to me disempowered women because it said women never know what they're doing. They just are always little flowers and men take advantage. The truth is that women take advantage too. And the easiest thing for women to sell to get what they want is sex, right? This is what Tag the Sponsor proves. I want to be rich. I want to have money and I don't want to work. So I'm going to sell sex. I have no talent and I want to be an actress. So I'm going to sell sex. Sex is a power that women have. Being beautiful is a power. Being aesthetic, being feminine is a power that women have. And women tend to wield that power heavily throughout society.
Oh, you believe in rape? I don't believe in rape. I think rapists should get the death penalty. I just don't believe in attacking men for no reason, without evidence, and destroying their lives. Look at this. A group of girls said a male classmate sexually assaulted them. He was escorted from school in shackles, charged with crimes, spent an entire summer indoors with an ankle monitor. Finally, the girls admitted they made it up because they didn't fucking like him. That is absolutely insane that girls sat there, made up a story about a man and ruined his life. He could have committed suicide, stuck in his house, worried about being accused of something he didn't do. And they all have Instagram. And they deleted my Instagram saying I'm dangerous. Absolutely criminal.
If you have just watched the video at the beginning of this video, you will agree that women need to be aware that the mgtow movement is doing more harm than good to all women, especially working women. Women are not always victims, and this idea needs to change. As Andrew Tate said, if women have the right to blame men for things they didn't do, and the power of the justice system can ruin men's lives, it's absolutely criminal. Men avoid women at work simply because they fear she might make baseless accusations or threats. Seriously, imagine the psychic consequences this boy will suffer for the rest of his life. I mean, just because a bunch of girls accuse him of committing a crime he didn't even commit. He wears ankle monitors all day and not only used, abused and exploited by girls but by school abuse admin, judiciary system and society as a whole. I recall reading a study designed to assess the impact and consequences of the mgtow movement, which subsequently found that men were significantly less willing to approach female colleagues in the workplace. According to the report, 20% of men avoid talking and interacting with colleagues in private. A third or more of the men said they were afraid of being alone with women in the study's main study, which asked men how they would feel if they were alone with women in the office. Why? Well, the main reason is that they just don't want to be in a situation where women make any accusations against them. They don't want to lose their jobs because of some women. Women can easily dismiss men these days. Like the example in the video, it's just an email or a call or a conversation from HR or today's school administration. And until you can prove your innocence, you're guilty. This is what men fear most. God forbid, if a woman even falsely claims that a man is harassing her at work, that man will lose his job and any other future employment opportunities, as well as his reputation and self-esteem. This is a huge advantage women have over men at work. So it's no surprise that 21% of men say they'd be reluctant to hire women for jobs that require intimacy, such as traveling. 19% of men responded that they would be reluctant to hire women who are considered attractive by social norms. This is the result of a survey of employees from different companies. The survey also found that similar surveys conducted in the past have not yielded similar results. In previous surveys, men felt more comfortable interacting with women in an office setting. Previously, 15% of men said they were less likely to hire women for positions requiring close human interaction, compared with 21% in a later survey. Men prefer to work with other men than women. It just goes to show how suspicious men are of women over time, especially in the past decade, and how much more willing they are to communicate and collaborate with other men on boards and boards. They prefer to work with other men than women because they can share information, discuss ideas and organize schedules together. This is because they are afraid of losing the career they have worked so hard to build for a long time. One baseless accusation can cost you everything. In a society that primarily considers and believes what women say, false accusations can be villains. So don't blame the man. I mean, people can see what happened over the years, especially with the rise of the mgtow movement. They don't want to be held accountable for something they didn't commit. They don't want to lose their jobs, status and social status. To be clear, men are not saying they are the only ones who are afraid of women. Likewise, women generally seem to hire fewer women. Based on previous survey results, it is estimated that more than 10% of men and women are less likely than before to hire attractive women. I have a feeling this is the case because generally people are more inclined to trust attractive people than those who lack beauty. We can attribute it to pop culture. Every movie or show you watch, old or new, features either the most attractive woman or the man who can't go wrong and has a heart for justice. In society, the bad and the bad are always old, beautiful, frighten people who look scary. So it's no surprise that neither men nor women would consider hiring an attractive woman, because if a woman makes a false complaint against a man, everyone will assume she's telling the truth. Anyone can watch a guy try to flirt with a beautiful woman because that's always been the case. Boys find it extremely difficult to deal with harassment. Some people may be accused of harassment simply for joking around with coworkers. Even in this case, two male coworkers could legally joke around with each other without attacking anyone, and they could be sued for harassment. Then HR suddenly caught up with them and questioned them about everything. Men are afraid to shake hands with women for fear she will think it is harassment. It would be easier to avoid contact altogether. What makes this study so fascinating, however, is that it completely disproves the notion that men lack a clear understanding of what is unacceptable behavior. The first step the researchers took was to examine 19 behaviors and determine whether they should be classified as harassment. Sending explicit emails to subordinates is an example. Both sexes largely agree on what constitutes harassment, and most men and women know it. One of the study's authors told HBR that it is inappropriate to say that men are unaware of their actions, and that it is largely inaccurate to say that women build mountains with moles. If anything, women have a broader definition of harassment than men. Most men can tell the difference between a loving hug and a nasty one. You know exactly what constitutes harassment. On the other hand, from a woman's point of view, everything is harassment. If a supervisor asks a junior or junior team member to stay in the office for an extra hour, she can create a scene where she is seen on CCTV cameras talking to the supervisor and instructing her on how to do a specific one to resolve the project. Then she can basically make up a story about how he tried to harass her. Do you know? HR will believe this woman. It makes sense that men would want to avoid being alone with women to avoid potential problems that could jeopardize their entire career. Feeling excluded, women began to protest. They are no longer expected to work harder on projects and finish them in the office in the wee hours of the morning knowing their jobs are not in jeopardy. People are more willing to ask men to stay longer and work with them. In addition, women do not participate in private team meetings where important information is discussed. For example, if I need to share something alone with a coworker in a small conference room and I need to go with someone, I will choose a man, knowing that inviting a woman into a small area can be overwhelming for others. Strangeness, not only in the US, but also in Europe, the UK and other parts of the world. The corporate world is still feeling the aftermath of the mgtow movement. As long as they continue to overreact to the movement and make the false accusations we so often see against them in the media, men will continue to avoid working with women. Because of this, the mgtow movement hasn't really accomplished much beyond widening the gender gap and making organizations more cautious about hiring women for clerical positions. They are more cautious because they know that hiring women may cause employees to be wary of interacting with women for fear they will be accused of harassment, or labeled as freaks at work. Also, as the mgtow movement continues, more and more men are wary of approaching women. Thank you all for watching. To watch more videos from this channel, click the subscribe button.